Nicole Scott here for Netbook News. I'm down here in Portland, Oregon. In case you guys didn't know, usually based in Taipei, Taiwan, which is why you see so much content from Asia. But since I came over here for CES, I decided to stick around and see what was here happening on the West Coast. So I started off in San Francisco, caught up with some companies there. Didn't do too much video, so you won't be seeing much from there. And then I headed up to Portland, Oregon. So that's where I am here. You can see the wonderful people behind me all collecting their bags. And I'm going to actually the Intel headquarters. So we're going to go down to Hillsboro, just outside of Portland, and see exactly what's going on with the developer lab there. So let's grab my bags and let's get going.
So Intel AppUp is the consumer-facing part of what we announced at IDF, which is about getting developers to deliver, enabling developers to deliver compelling new software experiences onto netbooks. And we have a beta of the Intel AppUp Center that's on the web now. And you can download that, and you can actually take a look at the applications that we've been working with third-party developers to enable that we think really work well and shine on netbooks.
So the AppUp Center launched at CES on January 7th, and really to a fantastic response to consumers, because they're really looking forward to applications that were tailored to their netbook, and to developers because they're looking forward to reaching their target market and having a direct distribution channel, which they've never had before on the netbook devices. So that's what we rolled out at CES, and so far it's going really well.
So where did the inspiration come from? I mean, did you guys just suddenly say, netbooks are kind of their own special machine, they need their own, special ecosystem, or did it, like, where did the idea come from?
Well, so of course the App Store phenomena is very obvious, right? And the number of developers engaged writing apps for app stores and the value proposition there is quite obvious. And we looked at this and said, well, what makes sense for our developers? How can we help our developers to reach netbook devices, or to reach our devices in general? And netbook popped up as the most obvious, mainly because there aren't applications there today really well suited for it. Lots of devices out there, people using them for the basics of internet access and email, but not a lot of software tailored for them. So that's why it just popped up and said, okay, why don't we start with netbooks and then see if we can expand to other devices in the future. So hopefully handsets come next, consumer devices, in-car entertainment, set-top boxes. A whole host of opportunities arise from Atom-centric devices, and the netbook was just a great place to start.
All this talk of the App Store, let's take a look at some apps. This is an app called Desk Space, and this is an award-winning app that you can find in the App Store for $24.95. It allows you to have multiple desktops. This desktop is only for Intel apps, and that was an example of an app for secure banking. You can have up to 6 desktops, and as you can see, it provides a 3D graphics interface of a spinning cube for you to access your various desktops. So this is just one example of an app that you can find in Intel AppUp.
So this week we announced the Intel AppUp Center beta, first available on Windows and shortly available on Moblin. The Moblin version is really exciting because it fits the Moblin look and feel. And the Moblin site is slightly different from the Windows-based site because we really want to address the user in the way that they're used to with Moblin and Linux. You will also find some applications unique just to the Moblin App Store, and some that will be on both Windows and Moblin. What we're looking at here today is the prototype and early beta version of the Intel AppUp Center for Moblin. What you'll notice, the one on the screen here, is actually with one of our partners. So we do have OEM partners that will be offering Moblin stores, and this is an example of one. Ideally, the Intel AppUp Center for Moblin and Windows offers all the same features and functionalities. There is the ability to sort through categories. There is the My Store, which shows where all the applications are that I purchased. On the main home page of the beta store, there's a showcase of the top 5 apps that rotate. All the content is exactly the same with the Moblin store as the Windows store. It's just laid out slightly different. And again, with the Intel AppUp Center beta for Moblin, what we tried to do is set it up in a format very similar and very recognizable to the Moblin user.
So why don't we take a look at some apps that we can actually find in the store right now. This is another award-winning app. It's called Smiles. If you go into the game section, you can see there's quite a lot of apps that have been adapted for your netbook. We're going to launch Smiles. And let's just take a quick look at one of the games that you can get within it. This one's Drop. And you basically, I chose easy. And you basically will just swap out one, match 3, and you go from there. It's actually pretty fun. First time I downloaded it, I played it for 2 hours, unfortunately. What similarities or what differences are you finding the most with dealing with this new platform on the netbook? You can go either way, similarities or differences.
One of the most interesting things is we didn't have to design for IE6. Netbooks are all at least modern OSs. So we have to support XP, we have to support Windows 7. We don't have to support Vista because Vista was never really installed on those. And what that meant is it was refreshing. Where normally Intel, as a corporate environment, has sometimes a long cycle of when it upgrades internal software. And a lot of things I used to be designing for were people who were sometimes in that space. Even when we did consumer-based applications, you have people who had a long back history. And what was interesting with designing for netbooks was because they're such a new form factor, they all have pretty recent OSs, and they have up-to-date software. And so it meant, that was the cool thing, we could put, doesn't support IE6, which removed a tremendous amount of our time. The other aspect was, everything where we used to start doing from the last couple of years has always been, oh, we have bigger and bigger real estate. And so you could take more and more stuff. And now we had to do the complete reversal of, we're back to even smaller screen size than when I first started, and really thinking about, is it worth it to add this little extra vertical bar, or can I actually get back because I have such a small amount of vertical space? How do I think I lay things out wider because I now have that wide space where we didn't necessarily always use width as much?
We have our secret filing cabinets here, but Intel is no longer on paper, so they're empty but still here.
And they're all over. Look at them.
Yep, empty.
Empty down there.
Sometimes they have trade show stuff, giveaways and things like that.
Hidden. Yeah, there's more here.
Yeah.
Yes, this is the old section.
This is the old section.
With the gray and the gray carpet. Although this carpet's more comfortable than many carpets at CES.
Yeah, definitely. Like that little pattern, and the nice views outside, and the plants in here, and the colored walls.
Yeah. You've got a lot of netbooks here. When a developer is looking to develop an app just for netbooks, what should they keep in mind?
Sure. It's going to depend on what you feel like your target audience is, but probably the biggest physical difference among the netbooks that's out there is the screen size. And that's not only physically the screen size, the 11-inch screen on this this HP here versus, say, the 10-inch screen on, which that one's not on, that's a bad example, the 10-inch screen on this Toshiba. But also the screen resolution. Most netbooks have, well, at the low end, you're not going to find many with the low end resolution below 1024 by 600 pixels. Whereas on the higher end ones like this HP, the higher end of the resolution scale, this one's 1366 by 768. And what that means for you as a developer is that sometimes you may be working in a very cramped, small screen space, and you have to make sure that your app works in a screen that's only 600 pixels high, that you don't have a dialog box or something that is too tall and gets cut off. But you also have to make sure that if somebody has a netbook with a higher resolution screen, that your app is able to kind of scale gracefully and look good in that kind of environment as well. There's other differences in hardware features. Some of them have integrated GPS, some of them have integrated 3G. Some of them have touchscreens, some of them don't. But for the most part, I'd say screen size and resolution are the biggest consideration for a developer.
So in that room we had 3 different teams all working on Agate Rock sharing this space, and for our development team they wanted a space where they could do their extreme programming, agile kind of programming model, and that's a place where they can all sit together. If they have to use their cubes out here, it's a little bit harder to sit around the table together and program. For the validation folks, it was nice to just be all together in this room in that environment, but also to have the developers sitting right there, so there's a lot of cross collaboration.
This is Venkata, and he's a validation engineer.
Hi.
In this group of netbooks, he is downloading applications so we can run them through our stringent requirements.
Yep.
And test them. Do they install? Do they function? Do they have any bad words?
So do they download at the same time to all the netbooks, or do you do them individually and just kind of go from there?
We do with other netbooks also, right?
Yeah, individually, typically.
Individually?
And then he rotates around.
So you're validating 6 different apps right now.
Yeah.
The most interesting app requests that we've gotten so far. Boy, I'm trying to think. So, you know, through a lot of this, we did quite a bit at CES with the Mommy Tech groups. And there's been some interesting conversations and requests around that. So, for example, I was actually on a panel at CES with a woman who runs a mommy TV or broadcasting online. And there was a discussion that happened afterwards from a mother that was there that was saying you should take your program or your effort that's online and create an app. So since then, you know, the woman has contacted me and said, hey, I want to talk to you a little bit about this. I haven't talked to her yet, but I think that's a very interesting application.
And that's been our behind-the-scenes look at the Intel AppUp Center. Thanks for joining me. I'm Nicole Scott.